Arsenal are winning the Premier League this season. I know, we've said this for the past 2, maybe even 3 years, but I genuinely feel like Arsenal are going to win the league this season. And that is my best impersonation of a deluded Arsenal fan. Trust me, that's not what I think. But as you guys can see by the title, today we are giving our 25-26 Premier League predictions. Sunderland are back in the Premier League and they can't stop spending money. Burnley, with their nail-biting and probably frustrating for other people defensive play, are back in the Premier League. Liverpool have spent almost 300 million and it looks like they want to add £150 million ESAC to it. Chelsea, again, they buy like 10 players every single window. It's going to be an interesting season. But before we get stuck into this new season, which means a new slate for a lot of teams, make sure you guys comment down below. Who do you think is going to win the Premier League? Who do you think is going to get relegated? And who is one team that you guys think is going to stand out the most in comparison to everyone else? Subscribe to join this team of football lovers, MB United. And guys, there's a fantasy league coming up. I'm going to make another announcement, another short video about it, but the link will be down below in the description. Make sure you join because there are prizes to be won as well as monthly updates on the FPL. So make sure you join. But without further ado, let's start with the top 4. Actually, top 5. Since I think this season, again, it is going to be 5 teams to make the Champions League. So let's do the top 5. And in 5th place, I think it's going to be Manchester United. Now, they have a new look front 3. And I'll be honest with you, it might be one of the best front 3s in the league. Sesko, Mbeumo on the right, Cunha on the left. This is a very dangerous prospect. With Cunha on the left, we all know what he's capable of. Single-handedly keeping Wolves in the Premier League last season. He is absolutely sensational, and I think it's been a very good signing from Manchester United. And Mbeumo on the right, we know exactly what the guy is capable of. 20 goals and assists in the league for the 2nd season running, doing it him and Wissa. Even without Ivan Toney, he was their main talisman. And Mbeumo looks like someone who's going to make his imprint on the league this season. Now, whether it's for better or for worse, we don't really know yet. But for Manchester United, he is definitely someone who is that type of inside forward, that Salah type of winger who doesn't stay out wide all the time. And looks to be a perfect match for Amrim's system of having like 2 10s right behind the striker. Cunha and Mbeumo as your 2 10s. That looks dangerous. And then of course we have Benjamin Sesko, one of the most talked about strikers in the world this summer. He's still a bit of an unknown entity in terms of how well he can actually do in the Premier League and how good he is. I don't know, I feel like Sesko is going to have a very good season. I think Manchester United's front 3 are going to have a very good season. But defensively, they don't quite seem there yet. And I feel like 5th place is good for them. 5th place would be a fantastic season. And in 4th place, I think it's going to be the other side of Manchester. I think Manchester City are going to finish 4th place. Now, the reason why I say Man City 4th place is I don't think they're going to be as open and vulnerable as they were last season. But I feel like because they're in the middle of a transition period, I feel like it is going to be a bit... It's going to be a bit of a tall order to ask them to win the Premier League again. Not to say that they won't ever do it. I just think this season with the signings of Cherki, signing of Reinders, Agnuri, Marmoush is basically a new signing as well. I feel like it's going to take a while for them to click. And I feel like it's going to take a while for them to get firing. And I don't think they're going to be the same sort of resolute City that we saw 2 seasons ago. I feel like it's going to be more so like the Centurion City where we see fluid, free-flowing attacking football. But the defensive side is still something that is longing for a bit more. With Kyle Walker leaving for Burnley, De Bruyne going to Napoli, Bernardo Silva and Gundogan looking like they are past their best. These are just reasons why I feel like City will still have a good season, but I feel like 4th place, maybe 3rd. I don't think there's going to be too much in it in terms of the points between 3rd place or 2nd place or even 5th place. Now in 3rd position, this is a bit of a bold statement. In 3rd place, actually no, I'm going to swap this round. I think City are going to finish 3rd and I think Liverpool might finish 4th. And you can tell this is a last minute change because I literally just changed my mind now, even though my guides and everything that I said says Liverpool 3rd place. I actually think they might finish 4th by like a point and just a point behind City. And the reason why I say this is because, yes, Salah had a fantastic season last season, an all-timer season if you will, but I don't think he's going to replicate that. And last season, they were heavily reliant on those goals, keeping them in games, because I feel like defensively, moving into this season, I mean, off the back of the Community Shield already, I feel like Liverpool are there for the taking. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Liverpool are terrible, Liverpool are going to fall off, I'm not saying that at all. They signed Ekitike, they signed Wirtz, they signed Kirkus, they signed Frimpong. Those are 4 very good players. But the main difference is that with the way they used to play with Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's not going to be a winger or a wing back that's flying forward all the time. Trent Alexander-Arnold, him and Salah, they would link up quite nicely. Trent Alexander just on the edge of the box, waiting for that whipped cross, moving into midfield. I guess, producing another midfielder with creativity in Liverpool's system. Frimpong is a winger. How is that really going to translate against teams, especially when they find themselves on the back end of a counter-attack? With Kirkes as well, I feel like this season, yes, he is coming in as Andy Robertson's replacement, but this season, I don't think we're going to see his defensive capabilities as much. I feel like Liverpool going forward are going to be probably the scariest team in the league. Because again, Kirkes flying forward, Frimpong flying forward, of course, the inevitable Mohamed Salah, Ekitike, Gakpo. It's going to be scary, but defensively, all it takes is one injury. One injury to Van Dijk, one injury to Konate, one injury to Frimpong even, and I feel like the defensive frailties will show. Again, this is at the time of speaking. If Liverpool now go and recruit another centre-half at least, and maybe another midfielder, defensive midfielder, then it will change completely, and I think Liverpool could probably win the league again. But as of right now, I just don't see it happening. Now for the top two, I think it's going to be two London clubs, Chelsea and Arsenal. But I feel like Arsenal, as of right now, are going to finish second again, and Chelsea might just pick them to the title. Now, the reason I say this is because Chelsea are a weird team. Chelsea are the type of team that it doesn't really matter what they do for the next 4 or 5 years. In that 6th year, they're going to pop out with a random Premier League trophy. And I feel like this is the year for them to do it. They didn't sign Sancho. Nicholas Jackson looks like he's on his way out because they've got 2 new strikers, João Pedro and Liam Delap. The only thing that Chelsea are missing right now is another centre-half. And the only reason I say that is because Colwill now has done his ACL. It looks like Chelsea still aren't done spending, with right now, at the time of recording, they're rumoured to sign Garnacho and they're rumoured to sign another midfielder. You add the likes of Garnacho and Xavi Simons to already scintillating Cole Palmer. João Pedro looks like he's on fire. He cannot stop scoring. Caicedo and Fernandes in the cut. Reece James looking like he's back to his best with Enzo Maresca. You know, I can't lie. Enzo Maresca, the way he's actually managed Reece James' injury and, you know, slowly putting him back into the team is amazing. And then Cucurella on the other side, as much as I don't really like him, he is a very, very solid left back. I honestly think the only thing Chelsea need is another centre-half. And if they go and sign someone like Donnarumma from PSG, who already wants to leave, they are favourites for the title and they should win the title. But as it stands already, I'd say they should win the league. Now, the reason why I don't think Arsenal right now would be able to win the league is because as it stands, Arsenal still need another left winger and Arsenal still need another creative midfielder. If they don't get those two, I am not 100% confident that Arsenal will win the league. They're still short in that area. They're still short in a bit of creative spark and another maverick in the team. Yes, Gyökeres is up front and he's fine. And, you know, him and Saka will probably do very, very well this season. Same with Odegaard. But another left winger that is better than Martinelli, better than Trossard, I feel like that's what will take them to the Premier League trophy. So there you have it. That is my top 5. Manchester United in 5th, Liverpool in 4th, Man City in 3rd, Arsenal in 2nd again, and Chelsea winning the league. Now, if we talk about who is going to get relegated, the 3 teams I think are going to be Burnley, Brentford, and Leeds. Burnley, the reason why I feel like they're going to get relegated is because, yes, they have an outstanding record, I think, of only conceding about 14 goals last season, which is actually the best defensive record in the whole of English Football League history. I don't think that's going to translate well into the Premier League. I feel like Scott Parker's football, or, you know, if that's what he likes to call it, this way he plays, it's not built to withstand the likes of Erling Haaland, Marmoush, Ryan Cherky, Gyökeres, Saka, Mbeumo, Wissa. The level of attackers that his team is going to be coming up against this season might be too much for Burnley and it might just overwhelm them. And I feel like Scott Parker might be the first manager in the Premier League to get the sack. Now with Leeds, they're a strong team. Leeds are a team who their fans in Ellen Road will always get behind them. But I don't think it's going to be enough. For some reason, I feel like Leeds are going to have the same fate that Ipswich Town had last season and even Luton Town the season before had, where yes, they are putting up a good fight. They are causing some upsets and getting draws here and there. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. And for that, I feel like they're going to go down. Now, lastly, with Brentford, it will actually be a miracle if Brentford managed to survive in the Premier League this season. Now, the reason I say this is because a complete reset in the dugout with their manager and backroom staff gone, their captain in Norgard going, their goalkeeper going in Mark Flecken, Whistler looks like he's on his way out, and Mbeumo left. This only really leaves Mikkel Damsgaard, Kevin Schade, Keane Lewis Potter, Janelt as players that they can actually rely on to, you know, I guess, come up with goods this season. I don't think it's going to be enough unless Brentford have last 2 weeks where they go on an absolute transfer spending spree. I don't see them surviving in the Premier League. I feel like they'll still play well and maybe finish 18th, but they're not surviving in the Premier League. Not in my opinion. And for the final European spots in 6th, 7th and 8th for Europa League and in the Conference League, I think Newcastle are going to finish 6th place. I think Tottenham are going to finish 7th. And I think Aston Villa are going to get that final European spot, finishing 8th place. Now, the reason I think Tottenham are going to finish 6th is because I feel like it will be very, very difficult for Thomas Frank to have a worse season than they did last year, finishing 17th. Thomas Frank is a Premier League proven manager. We all know what he's about with Brentford. Solid and good football. However, I can't pinpoint exactly what I think Thomas Frank is going to play like. I can't say he's a counter-attacking manager, a possession-based manager, someone who likes to sit back. I feel like if there was a polygon with all the different managerial styles, Thomas Frank is well-rounded in all of them. And for that, I feel like Tottenham will finish 6th. However, this is heavily dependent on if they get a striker. They're linked with Savinho right now. They're linked with getting another striker as well. Those two, according to Sky Sports, are like their main priority. And if they get those two positions, they are definitely finishing 6th place. Now with Newcastle, Isak is not leaving Newcastle, right? Apparently they've blocked the transfer. He's not going to leave this summer. Now, by the time this video comes out, there could be something different in the reports, whether Isak has agreed a deal with Liverpool, agreed a deal with someone else, who knows? But as of right now, they're struggling to get their main targets. As I said, they've missed out to Kudus, Tottenham, missed out on, James Trafford to Man City and Burma to United and so on and so on. I feel like, of course, they are still going to make signings, but it's not going to be the right signings. And I don't feel like the environment around Newcastle right now, especially if Isak, moving the way that he has been moving, we're trying to get a move to Liverpool, I don't think it's going to make for the best of starts to the season. However, I do feel like on the latter stages of the season, they will pick up into form. People like Jacob Murphy, Guimaraes will start firing, Elanga as well. I feel like they do really well with Gordon in Newcastle, but I just can't see them having a good start. And I wouldn't actually be surprised if Isak leaves in January, because we've seen similar things with when Van Dijk went to Liverpool. They said he wasn't going to leave in summer, only for him to leave a couple months later in January. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that was to happen. And then lastly, Aston Villa in 8th place. I just feel like Aston Villa, they need to invest, and they haven't really been investing. I think they just made a signing a couple of days ago, but that's about their first actual major signing for the transfer window. I feel like if they really do want to continue to keep their momentum into breaking into the top 6, they need to invest, and they need to invest now. And my predictions on some of the awards, I feel like the first manager to get sacked is going to be a toss-up between Scott Parker at Burnley and Keith Andrews at Brentford. But I really have a lot of faith in Keith Andrews. So that's why I'm going to say Scott Parker is going to be the first manager to get sacked. Now, the signing of the season, this is going to be a bit of a toss-up. I feel like if Arsenal win the league, it's most likely going to be Victor Gyökeres because of his goals. However, if they don't, my money's going to be on João Pedro. And this is mainly because I feel like Chelsea are going to be serious title challengers this season. And from the pre-season he's having already, he looks ridiculous. If he can continue that form into the Premier League and sustain it over 38 games, I'm putting my money in early. Do you know what I mean? I'm investing, and I'm going to say João Pedro, signing of the season. Now, young player of the season, I think this is going to go to Florian Wirtz. Again, I think he's going to have a very strong season on the slot, but maybe not enough for him to, guide Liverpool to a second Premier League in a row. I feel like he's still going to have a very good season, and for that, he's going to get young player of the season. For the Golden Boot, my money is on Erling Haaland. I feel like he's going to go back to his normal self of getting 30 to 35 goals a season. I feel like he is going to be close. I feel like players like João Pedro is going to be behind him. Gyökeres is going to be behind him. And funny enough, I actually think Marmoush is going to be behind him as well. But ultimately, Erling Haaland is a freak of nature. He's the best number 9, the best striker in the Premier League. So I feel like getting the Golden Boot this season is going to be complimentary for him. And then the breakout star for this season, I personally have my money on Giovanni at Crystal Palace. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like his slow inclusion in the squad, of course, him scoring the winning penalty in the Community Shield as well, is going to be vital. Well, I feel like Crystal Palace, they set to lose maybe Eze. I feel like Josh Devaney will come in, have a couple games, and I feel like he'll actually cement himself in the starting 11 of Crystal Palace. I would have said someone else like maybe Adam Wharton or maybe even Aiden Heaven at United. But again, Wharton's played a lot more Premier League games already. I think this is his second season in the Premier League now. Aiden Heaven, again, I'm not too sure how much he is going to play for Manchester United as a starting defender. And also he got injured in pre-season, so I don't think he is going to make the opener. So Josh Devaney, that's my early chips right now. However, I was thinking to also say Max Dowman, but that one might be a bit too early. And then lastly, player of the season. Should I say it? I'm going to say Martin Odegaard. I think Martin Odegaard is going to have a resurgence. I feel like he's going to be one of the best players in the league this season. And again, you can call me a deluded Arsenal fan, but I feel like last season was his worst. and he knows it. And this season, he's putting in the work to make sure that he can get back to the best of his abilities. And who knows, I could very, very easily be wrong. You've heard my opinion now. What do you think? Comment down below. Who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot? Who do you think is going to be the first manager to get sacked? And ultimately, where do you think your team is going to finish in the Premier League table for this upcoming season? If you like this video, make sure you smash a like. I'm aiming for about 10 likes, so if we can get that, that'll be very, very sweet. Subscribe to join MB United, and as always, guys, hit me up on my socials. Let's connect, let's talk, let's have a discussion about football during the season, after the videos, all of that. Also, this season, I will be launching my Twitch, and I'll be live streaming at the end of every single match week, giving a little update of all the games that have happened, all the talking points, the VAR technicalities, because of course, there's always going to be problems with VAR, and everything around football. So make sure you head over to my Twitch channel, subscribe to that, and look out for the live streams. There's gonna be a video popping up on screen right over here, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy that video probably more than you enjoyed this video. So why don't you go over to that one, and I'll catch you in another time. Keep it real, and I'll see you when I see you. In a bit.